This is probably the worst business class product in the sky, and I'm about to spend 13 hours in it. Welcome to British Airways' old Club World seat, found aboard their A380 services, of which I happen to be flying today from London to Singapore. My journey starts at London Heathrow Terminal 5, the home of British Airways. After check-in and security, you have a choice of 3 British Airways business class lounges, dependent from which gate you're departing from. After a quick train across to Terminal 5B, I make my way into the lounge here, which is lovely and quiet, a very comfortable space to sit in. There's a champagne and wine bar, along with a very extensive buffet offering all sorts of British treats. There's a decadent bar space in the centre of the lounge, along with some great views out to the tarmac. Granted, the bathroom suites have certainly seen better days. And welcome aboard to one of the worst business class products still flying. With 8 seats a row, you'll either be stuck in an internal seat, needing to step over another passenger for aisle access, or your seat will be completely on the aisle itself. We opted for these centre seats on the bottom deck of the A380 for added privacy, but still we'll need to step over our fellow passengers every time we're wanting to get up. Once the privacy screens come up, when you're in the air, this is a pretty private spot to be in. But until then, you're stuck facing a stranger. Here's the next problem. There is absolutely no storage in these seats, but a single drawer which cannot be accessed once you've reclined into bed mode. Prior to takeoff, the crew served a pre-departure drink. I enjoyed whilst having the stranger next to me stare the entire time. These screens are also tiny and clunky and would not stay in place, but more on that later. These inside seats actually face backwards, which was a surreal experience for takeoff and landing. Once up in the air, I slipped into my BYO Qantas pyjamas, as British Airways don't provide any for business class. There was Wi-Fi available, only being complimentary for first class, however. There was a hot towel offered, and then the dinner service commenced. I was low-key very worried about eating off this table, as it was seriously not sturdy. Starting with a cocktail and some nuts, I had the buffalo mozzarella to start, which was very nice, followed by the Kung Pao chicken, small but very tasty. This was the full dinner and drinks menu. It was a really friendly and efficient service from the BA crew. Once the privacy screen was raised, I was more relaxed, but the crew had to lower this each time to serve me and lean across the poor passenger next to me. He was gracious, but I'm sure it got to be annoying having the crew lean across you constantly. I finished dinner with a peppermint tea and tried to watch something, but this screen would just not stay still. I made my bed and tried to get some sleep. Now, granted, this is obviously more comfortable than economy. The bed is made by lowering this footrest and then reclining your bed into it, and at only 6 foot long, I was a little confined, being 6'2". The bedding and amenity kit from the White Company was lovely, but with the only storage being that little drawer under the bed, make sure you have everything before you recline. I had a very interrupted and uncomfortable sleep and finally decided to give up and just have breakfast. The full English looks like an absolute dog's dinner, but it was nice. The passenger next to me said he accidentally pushed his button, making the privacy screen come slamming down whilst I was asleep. He was worried he'd woken me, but alas, I had no memory of it. Then we were landing into Singapore and I was very excited to get off that plane.